Welcome to Table for 92. Element number 7, nitrogen. Nitrogen has exactly 7 protons within its nucleus. That's why it's number 7. For nitrogen, we're cooking up grilled oysters on the half shell and a nice venison backstrap. The body gets nitrogen from amino acids that make up protein. So low-fat, high-protein foods like oysters and venison are a big source of nitrogen. So I'm gonna grill up these oysters on the half shell and the venison backstrap over the asado grill. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. Oysters especially are important for cleaning up nitrogen pollution on our shorelines. Nitrogen is incredibly important for crop productions. Like, all plants need nitrogen in the soil to thrive. And staple crops like corn especially need nitrogen. The excess nitrogen fertilizer from agriculture eventually will wash down rivers and into oceans, and that causes increased algae growth, which in turn causes all sorts of problems, from increased toxins that are harmful to ingest to extra large algae mats that block out the sunlight. We absolutely need nitrogen. We shouldn't vilify it, but there is too much of it getting into coastal areas purely from human activity. One adult oyster can filter 50 gallons of water a day. And by filter, I mean moves through the shell and into the tissue. It's called bioextraction. And these oysters grab nitrogen that could have come from agricultural fields from miles and miles away. Nitrogen makes up 78% of the atmosphere here on Earth. But despite that, it wasn't the first gas to be discovered by early scientists. It was actually the last element to be discovered in group 15 of the periodic table, despite how abundant it is. It really blows me away to like how early scientists, without any modern equipment, were able to discover elements so long ago. Nitrogen is such a great example of that. The discovery of nitrogen is credited to the Scottish Daniel Rutherford in 1772. But as will happen with a lot of other elements, there were other scientists that would discover nitrogen completely independently. After all, it was the late 18th century and it could take months for information to move around. So you had these different scientists independently discovering things and not knowing that other people were finding it as well. Carl Wilhelm Scheele, Joseph Priestley, and Henry Cavendish all discovered nitrogen, but the way Scheele discovered nitrogen is just awesome. He was trying to understand how fire works, and knowing fire needs air to survive, he was investigating air as different varieties of gases. By burning sulfur in air, he was able to remove the oxygen, leaving almost pure nitrogen. And the new gas did not support fire like hydrogen. So Scheele knew it wasn't one of these already known gases. So he filled an animal bladder with this new gas, nitrogen, he called foul air since it did not support fire, and he tried to breathe it in out of a bladder because they didn't have plastics back then. But yeah, he was able to take 40 breaths from it before he started feeling ill. I just love like the self-sacrifice and curiosity these scientists had. He's like, yeah, let me breathe in this unknown gas until I almost pass out. For science. All right, let's see how the oysters are going. The more I learn about nitrogen, like the more I love it. Nitrogen is one of those things that needs to be balanced out. Like, you know, we need it for food production, but we can't let it accumulate in waterways. But yeah, it's just amazing that this little oyster can help keep that balance. 50 gallons a day. It's fantastic, honestly. I mean, I like raw oysters, but this is better. Thanks for watching. See you next time.